Welcome to the NAMB Podcast, where we bring you the voices that drive the mortgage industry. Join dynamic hosts Ginger Bell and Matt Shields as they dive into bold conversations with top experts, industry leaders, and change makers from across the country. From insider insights to game-changing trends, this is your front row seat to what's happening right now in the world of home finance.
Well, hi there. Welcome to another episode of the NAMB Podcast. My name is Ginger Bell. My co-host is not with me today, Matt Shields, but I have two great guests with me today, and that is Richard Quintero, who's the president of the Lender AI. Hi, Richard.
Hello.
And then we have Andre Nieuwendam, who is head of technology and digital marketing, and I hear just about everything else that's important at the Lender AI. So, Andre, thanks for joining us today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, guys, so we're going to hop right in because, first of all, you are a new NAMB Industry Partner. So thank you for that. Thank you for becoming a NAMB Industry Partner. And I know our listeners want to hear about the Lender AI. And I'll be honest, when I first saw the name, I thought, oh, it's an AI tool. But you're so much more than that. So I really want to dive in. And Richard, I'm going to start with you and tell us a little bit about the Lender AI. I understand you are a direct lender, TPO lender. So for our mortgage brokers or non-Del lenders that are out there, hey, this is an option for you. So listen up because there are some really cool things that we're going to talk about today. So Richard, tell me a little bit about the Lender AI and what you provide.
The Lender AI, our focus is to assist other industry partners like loan officers and other mortgage brokers have a great place for them to be able to get their loans approved, and really want to bring in that originator mindset. I've been an originator for a while, so I really want the originator to have a great experience with their loans being able to get approved, funded in a timely manner, but also having aggressive underwriting that will help the majority of their clients be able to get into homes.
Gotcha.
So really that's the focus of the Lender AI, is being able to service our industry partners.
Yeah, so so you say aggressive underwriting, and I think that's something that we've kind of lost touch with in our industry for a lot of different reasons, right? So Andre, tell me a little bit about some of the difference. You have different niche products that you provide, and so tell me a little bit about some of those products that are available for our audience.
Yeah, so we have a couple of programs that are pretty unique to the industry, and I know Richard can go into a little bit more detail, but we do have an FHA, verification of employment product that's really, really a very niche product, very easy for people to qualify with that product. It doesn't require a lot of documentation and everything. And the advantage to those is that we're able to close them very quickly as well. They're very easy for our underwriters to get the person qualified. And the situations and the scenarios that we have for these are pretty unique to the industry. I mean, they're generally, underwritten under standard FHA guidelines, but there are some variations there as well. And then we have another program called our Earned Equity program, which is a pathway to purchase is what we call it. And that's basically almost sort of a lease to own product that we partner with the Thule tribe to do. And that one is really nice as well. It's really good for foreign nationals, people that don't necessarily qualify for ITIN loans. And I'll let Richard give you a lot more detail on those products.
Very good. So, I think that's important to have that mix as far as different products. So for our brokers, if they're getting a call in, when should they be thinking about it? It's like, I have this call in, I want to get someone, pre-qualified or qualified. When are they going to pick up the phone and call one of the Lender AI AEs? Or I understand you have a lot of really cool technology tools available, and so some of those things. So what should they be thinking about as far as where it's a good fit for you?
Well, when it comes to our products, I mean, like I mentioned, we have the most aggressive underwriting. Um,
Okay.
when they have a problem because somebody's income just didn't calculate right or wasn't documented properly, whether it's through all the different sources that standard documentation is done, tax returns, W-2s, pay stubs. Sometimes people have additional work or they get paid with different types of sources of income as
Great.
well. So when they have a file that just didn't go through, the client has credit, they have money, but they just for some reason the income was just not completely clear to be able to get quickly approved through standard means, then that's where we come in. Our specialty product and our verification of only loans, it really allows us to be able to get rid of all of the documentation and just focus on one form and one document that we are going to be able to count and use as income with all the FHA guidelines that are required to be able to do so. Additionally, a little bit about the pathway to purchase product that Andre briefly mentioned. That is an FHA fallout product. It's a great product. If you have somebody that just didn't qualify for FHA, whether it's because right now legal status in the country, maybe they have an ITIN or they've got an EAD card or different type of
Right.
visas that they don't no longer qualify for FHA, this is a great product for them. It's minimal down payment. The credit scores go all the way down to a 580 as a baseline, but
Wow.
we're able to get down to 500. Personally, we closed a 507 with 3.5% down, which is not common. That's why we have these specialty type products, and it really helped people get into homes where they deserve it. They just had something happen in their life that just wasn't able to be done, or there's a change of employment. A lot of people are entrepreneurs. They want to start their own business and not wait 2 years after starting their own business to be able to get into a home. So this
Right.
product allows that as well with flexible income requirements and documentation to be able to get into a home. So somebody that just started their employment, let's say 3 months ago, is able to fully document 3 months of income and be able to get into this type of financing. So it's a great product.
Wow. That when you're talking about aggressive underwriting, that is definitely there. I love that. And when you think about our housing, and I've been blessed to be in the mortgage industry for over 20 years, so I've seen all of the ups and downs and everything. Our first house we bought, we paid $68,000 for, which my son hates hearing that, but it's not that way anymore. And so, when we're looking at borrowers, they are faced with those challenges. You talked about, we live in this gig economy where people have multiple sources of income. And, you can own a business online. And I know there's a lot of different ways to make money in businesses online, whether it's through Amazon or through Etsy, or even, being a social media influencer. There's, lots of different things that people do like Uber. There's just all these different things. And so we're seeing a lot of, and I don't think it's just the next generation, because I think it's across a lot of multi-generations that people have multiple sources of income, right? And so it doesn't fit into the box that we're so used to, as far as just having the standard, whether you're having your tax returns or your W-2. So having those options available are very important. Andre, do you see a lot of really where we're going in terms of qualifications for borrowers going in this direction, where it's not going to fit into our traditional conforming or FHA box?
Yeah, I was in banking for a long time, about 40 something years. And originally when you used to think about underwriting, it was just a very, very, everything fit in the box. Basically, the types of, paperwork that people had in regard to their employment and qualifications, it was the bank statements, the W-2s, just the standard things that banks would look for when qualifying a loan. And everything was really very vanilla, is the way I like to say it. But now, we've become much more entrepreneurial. Millennials their mindset on the way that they deal with their finances and the way that they document income and everything are very, very different. And so from the perspective of underwriting, whereas we still have to sort of conform to Fannie and Freddie guidelines for a lot of things, a lot of lenders are becoming much, much more creative in terms of the underwriting. Like Richard said, we're more aggressive in the way that we do things, the way that we look at the way income is calculated, for example. And I think the industry is really sort of forcing these government entities to take a look at the way traditional underwriting has been done over the last, few decades, and starting to say, hey, we really have to have a lot of considerations for the direction that all of this is going. Especially if we want to have a sustainable and sustained growth in the real estate market. Realtors, builders, all of these people are trying to figure out, wait, how do I qualify more borrowers to get into a home? And then the other issue as well is that we have people that, are very highly qualified, as Richard mentioned, foreign nationals who generally don't have a great credit history, but they do have a lot of money. They've got, they've been up to date on all their payments. And because they don't have certain documents, they're not able to get into a home, whereas just their behavioral habits, they would normally typically qualify. So I think from that perspective, we are looking at being very creative in the way that we underwrite. We do leverage AI for looking at different scenarios in the market where we can put in, somebody's circumstance and really, rather than having to go and read the Freddie and Fannie guidebooks and interpret those, we get a much clearer and concise picture of what direction we can go with the loan and what the best program is. And I know Richard mentioned, having somebody that had like a 508 on the credit score. We actually had somebody that qualified for one of these pathway to purchase loans that had a 460 score.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and they were able to get it done. So I think a lot of the investors are also looking at it from the market perspective and saying, hey, we're going to have to be a little bit more lenient on what our requirements are to get these loans done. So they're being creative as well, which is really helping us with these new products like the FHA, VOE, and the pathway to purchase loans. These are really creative programs that somebody put on their hat, sharpened their pencil, and said, "Hey, let's figure out a way to make these work for these types of borrowers."
I love that. So, Richard, are we seeing, I don't think I've ever seen a loan approved for 460. 500 has pretty much been the threshold, especially for FHA. Are we seeing a trend now in people having lower credit scores? Is this kind of becoming more of a norm? Is there a difference as far as credit, reporting, or, is this just kind of one of those nuances of what's happening with, high costs and things like that within the economy?
Yeah, when it comes to credit score, a lot of the times somebody's credit can be affected by fraud. We look at the full picture. We're not going to just look at a score and move on or deny. We need to look at the full picture. A lot of these times, yes, with these lower credit scores, they did have compensating factors. They had great employment. They had assets. They had the other stuff that's made the deal strong. And that's really what our underwriting is focused on, is making sense of the transaction. And when it comes to credit, some of the agencies are loosening up on the credit. We've got, Fannie rolls out that they don't have a 620 minimum FICO score anymore. We just got to be able to get through the automated underwriting. So an FHA really has never had a true FICO score.
Yeah.
Requirement. It's on their automated underwriter, and whatever manually can be approved with a make sense attitude. So really, that's what we want to do, is we want to use that common sense and not make everything just so automated when it comes to the approval process. We want to use automation tools, but we don't want it to be the only deciding factor to allow or not get somebody into a home.
Yeah. And I love this because we have some amazing tools available, obviously through automation, through AI, but it sounds like you're combining the two of them together, where you're using some of the technology, but you're kind of taking a step back and looking at the whole picture as a whole, to where it's like, where are those compensating factors and not just the investor overlays as far as the guidelines. So I want to ask, and I don't know who wants to answer this, so I'll leave it up to you guys. Richard, I'm assuming that you being the president, the name Lender AI. So how did you all come up with the name, and what does that mean? Because I thought you were honestly an AI provider. I thought, oh, there's somebody doing automated underwriting for in mortgage, but that's not the case at all. So why the name?
Well, everything is right now being powered by AI.
Yeah.
AI is a new up and coming thing. And yes, it was done for some marketing additions because of the AI. It's going to be a lot more popular now. But in reality, we're using the most powerful tool, which is the AI infrastructure, to build
Right.
around the mortgage approval process. We've developed an AI driven workflow that will allow us to be able to streamline QC and a lot of the technical parts of underwriting, and also allowing our brokers to be able to get fast, accurate answers without the constant back and forth of emails. Our
Mhm.
AI is going to be available on our website, where our basic QC reviews that usually will hold up a file for a day or two, and at some other locations even longer, they're going to be able to get instant answers on our website for a lot of our QC and a lot of our overlays that have to be done with aggressive underwriting. So those things that can be automated will be AI forward, and it'll be able to be provided to our partners directly on our site, so they can take care of this stuff after hours as well.
I love that. And Andre, for you, obviously being in charge of technology and the digital side of it, you know, what can a broker expect as far as talk about the onboarding process? So someone new to get signed up and to submit their first loan, because often that's what happens. It's like, hey, I listened to this podcast with NAM and I heard about the Lender AI. I do have a file I want to submit. How can they do that? And kind of what are the steps to doing that?
So I'm going to let Richard talk a little
Handle
bit
that
more
one.
about that because honestly, we started out with the process, the way that we onboarded everything, and Richard's team has really taken that to another level to where, our onboarding, typically when you see somebody join a TPO company, there's usually like maybe a 20-minute presentation where they show you sort of how to submit a loan and the software and everything else and all of that. But Richard's team has really made this like a white glove approach to bringing these people on. I mean, it's very, very impressive what they've done. They have leveraged a lot of the technology to do that as well. And the way that it's done is it's really now it's a workflow, it's a process that's been cookie cutter. So once they established that and perfected it, it's the same experience for every single person that comes on. It's fast, it's very streamlined, it's very effective, and they know exactly what they need to do. So because of that, we're seeing substantially more loans and more applications that are coming in within probably 24 hours of somebody being onboarded. We're
Wow.
seeing yeah, exactly. We're starting to see volume, and Richard's doing a tremendous amount of volume every month. So, and that's really because of what he's done with that infrastructure.
I love that. So Richard, I love the white gloves to where you talk about that. So Richard, tell me about that.
Yeah, from the beginning to submission, we want to make sure our brokers are always being treated with the respect that they require or they deserve. So right up front, we've got a broker package, which is standard in the industry. You got to apply to make sure that we've got everything in line. But with that, we've got a full team that's not only available by phone and email, but we have a virtual office with a link where people could just come into our virtual office and get any answers immediately. Our onboarding team is there, our approval, our compliance, our underwriting, our internal processing, our closers. Everybody is in the virtual office. So our brokers always have an ability to be able to just step into our office and say, you know what, I got this broker package. I didn't understand this portion of it. Can you help me? Perfect. Let's walk through it. Let's get that in. Let's get it approved. Like Andre said, within 24 hours, we can get these approvals in, and we can get our broker partners set up inside of the LOS also within a matter of hours upon approval.
Wow.
And there is an onboarding protocol as well. We'll onboard the brokers. We'll give them the opportunity to be trained on how to upload loans, because there's so many LOS systems out there right now
Right.
in the market. So they might not be familiar with the one that we are using to approve their loans. So we have the onboarding team that will be there to assist them to how to get a file in, how to get it priced, and how move the file along in the process. But you're not only going to get that onboarding once. During the process, at any moment, if there's any questions, any needs, any assistance, jump into the virtual office, and we've got the entire team that's always there ready to go to be able to
Right.
assist the brokers from any aspect of the loan, from entering it to understanding conditions or getting with the closer, just to be able to schedule closing.
I love that. And I mean, that's really cool to be able to have that because, old school used to be able, you would go into somebody's office, right? It's like when I started in wholesale, we had our office and all the underwriters were in there, everybody was in there. And then of course, COVID changed a lot of that. But so did technology, right? And so having that ability to hop into a virtual office and speak to someone or have a conversation with someone is very cool. So if our audience is wanting to get started, then where's the first place that they should start?
The first place is just contacting the lender AI. The contact could be done through our website, thelenderai.com. We also have an LOS support website for our already onboarded brokers that allows them to be able to have access to forms and anything else that they need during the process. All of that is available to them. So at lenderai.com is going to be the first source. Our phone number is on there and our contact information to be able to get the broker package.
Perfect. Yeah, and it's also available. So the Lender AI is also an industry partner, so it's also available on our NAMB site under our industry partners as well. So make sure and do that. I want to leave with this one idea. I'm a marketing person, so I always look at for our originators, what are the things that they should be doing to market themselves, to stand out? And in my opinion, being able to look at, the services that you offer, the products you offer at Lender AI is something they should go out and use in their marketing. And especially if you're talking about, foreign nationals, Andre, you're in Tampa, that's a big area for foreign nationals, right? And so, looking at, okay, putting on a marketing hat right now, and being a standout in terms of being able to go out and market. What are the things that loan officers should be doing for marketing right now in order to reach this gig economy, the foreign nationals, those types of borrowers, which would be a good fit for the Lender AI?
Yeah, definitely highlight our products.
Okay,
Any form of social media is good, and we got to be able to just to get out to the masses. And
great.
just to kind of differentiate here a little bit, so for a national, we got those products available, but we're also stepping out and helping the ITIN buyers as well, which
Okay,
is another type of buyer. I mean, there are
yeah,
people that are in the country that are paying taxes. They got a tax ID number for it, and they just don't have the legal status. And those are additional, a lot of people that are in this country that are able to be able to use this product as well for them. And it's all about being able to provide what you need to your clientele type. The loan officers really need to focus and determine, okay, my best clients is X, and determine that. And then we've got all
right.
the ability to be able to assist them with different tools or different product guidelines within our different lending, that we could be able to assist them to focus towards that client base. Whether it's down payment assistance, because we've got down payment assistance products if you deal with a lot of first time home buyers, or if you are dealing with investors, our DSCR products, or established buyers that need a VOE only loan because they've got a lot of income sources, they've got a lot of money, they just don't have that tax return that has the exact figures in there that show all of these things, or the different sources of income that they're getting are not all being able to be put on one document. So it allows this client flexibility to be able to focus on your client base, and let's get those type of advertising out to those individuals that are in your circle.
I love it. So that's fabulous. Well, Richard, Andre, thank you so much for joining us. I was really excited to be able to find out what you're doing. I love seeing new lenders coming into the space and being able to provide what you do. And so our mortgage brokers, I would definitely recommend go to their website. It's called thelenderai.com, or hop onto our NAMB website and you can find it under Industry Partners. Check them out. Check out Richard and his team. Andre, Richard, thank you so much. Absolutely loved it. Look forward to seeing you guys at NAMB National. I'm hoping that you all will be there. So we'll make sure and have to get together there. And I appreciate all you do. So we will see you on the next episode of the NAMB Podcast. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Ginger.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the NAMB Podcast, brought to you by the National Association of Mortgage Brokers. For more episodes, resources, and guest interviews, visit nambpodcast.com. Don't forget to follow, share, and subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you soon.